is there's no harm in starting at a very low position, but the biggest thing I always did throughout my career was I always upgraded myself. I kept on studying throughout my career. I am still studying, and I have seen that things change every 3 years, 4 years. There is a cycle. Anything you want to do, if you don't change it in 3, 4 years, you will get things will get monotonous.
Welcome everyone. Today we are joined by Mr. Anand Chawla. He's the director of Bodar Education Network, and we will know more about his story. So, welcome, Mr. Chawla.
Yes. Hi, Angela. Thanks for having me here. I'll just correct you. I am director IT for the group. So I head the IT for the group. My my director is somebody else. So thank you for having me here. So
So, Mr. Chawla, for starters, please tell us something about Bodar Education Network.
okay. So Bodar Education Network was formed way back in 1927. It's an educational trust. In fact, very proud to say our first trustee was Sri Mahatma Gandhi. So he was the first trustee of the trust, and it's close to about 95 years. We are now 135 schools, uh, close to about 150,000 students studying with us, and more than 10,000 staff members today work with us. So we come with a history, but originally we are an educational trust. Uh, we are across the entire we cover almost the entire western, southern, and central part of India. We are expanding every year. So, yeah, so that's about it. Our Mumbai was the base. Santa Cruz, Mumbai was the first three schools formed. And from there, the expansion started. And today we stand at 135 schools across the country.
Wow, that's amazing. And so, what does the Bodar Education Network, approach education in a different way compared to other institutes?
Yeah. So our motto itself is more than grades. So, and though we are modernized, but we still believe in old, you know, culture of even education. So we are a mix. We've modernized ourselves, but we make sure that we look into the cultural part of the country also. And everything about us is not only about grades. As I said, it's more than grades for us. So we look at the overall development of the child. Apart from academics, we have a lot of focus on sports and culture, sports. A lot of the students are, you know, they work. I mean, they are across different. Like some are sportsmen, some are good at studies. Some of them are studying abroad. So it's like a all rounder. Like we believe in making sure that every student covers up every aspect of life rather than just studies. So that's how different we are from other organizations.
Right. And could you give us an example of some of these extracurricular activities that you all use to develop a child?
Yeah. So we off late we started doing a lot of focus on STEM labs, like a lot of focus on coding. And those also what we're doing is we are putting in a lot of introduction to artificial intelligence, a lot of introduction on 3D printing happening there. So and we still consider it as non-academic STEM because we don't include it in the like we don't say that it's like a study because it's more project based. A
Mhm.
student gets to know a lot of different interesting projects. Like for example, if he's learning 3D printing, he learns how to create his glass. He learns to create a mobile phone case. He learns to create different cities projects. Like they work on a lot of smart city projects and all. So that is one thing. But we are different on. We have sports as you said. We cover up sports a lot throughout the country. Mumbai might be an issue. Space is an issue. But once we are outside Mumbai, our schools outside Mumbai all have good playgrounds. So and a lot of focus on cultural activities like other schools do in. And
Mhm.
our one of the major differences what we have is we've got a very big technology back end help for students also, parents, students. Probably in throughout the conversation, I can explain you that also, like how different we are. Is that so we can discuss on gradually on that, but that is what basic differences of how we are different from others and all, because we look at all different aspects of education rather than just studies. So that's how we are different from them others.
Lovely. Yes, that is really lacking in most education systems nowadays, where they focus only on academics.
Yes.
So, yes, this is really helpful. Uh, so, what work do you cover as Director of IT at Podar Education Network?
Yeah. So I've been with the organization for almost more than 20 years now. So I've seen the growth from 3 years to how we are three schools to how we are 135 schools today. So currently, I play a leadership role in developing the technological vision, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Then there comes infrastructure, there comes the ICT infrastructure, what we're talking of, the policies, practice. So, and basically, you could say that in short, it's like integrate the IT effectively for both instructional, that is for teaching, and non-instructional, that is administrative functions.
Mm-hmm.
So just to make it more easier for everyone to understand, it's like IT is basically covered up in three categories. So one is the ICT infrastructure, that is your backend hosting platforms and all, how we look into. The other is software, which supports the entire organization. I was telling you before, our whole organization survived today also during this pandemic is because of the support we have for software. Our
Mm-hmm.
software is in-house developed, so we've got a very strong, all kinds of software. And the third thing is we've got a support team which handles these software and hardware basically. So everything what I look at, it all comes under me, but I cannot do things alone. So I've got a big team under me who's we've got small leaders in each team. So close to about 70, 80 people are working with me in my department today, handling the overall IT infrastructure and the software. So that's the basic, in short, everything in IT comes under our domain, and we
Right,
have a team which works with me. So, so
right,
that's yeah,
right. And
yeah.
so you can say that Podar Education Network is definitely changing with their times. They're trying to keep the students up to date with all the latest technologies.
Yes, yes, we are doing that. In fact, we before this pandemic happened, also we were all very well connected. All our schools' parents are very well connected to the school. And one of the projects we did was 4 years back was introducing books, which was, as you said, as you know, it's one of the largest institution in the country or in the world. I don't know, because I've not much work is done on ebooks in the entire world as what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And like again, coming back to the difference, like you were asking me earlier, is how different we are from others. Is we wanted the parents to adopt ebooks at a fairly early, about 4 years back, but we realized it was too early, so we didn't have much success. We kept it optional. But ultimately, what's happened now is that hard work of 3 4 years back is actually come to help us now, because there were no deliveries happening of textbooks, because from
Mm-hmm.
March the pandemic stopped all the e-commerce deliveries and all. So we have close to 52,000 parents today using ebooks. Ebooks is just not a PDF of the book. A lot of times we got feedback from parents was that they have a textbook to read their book, and then they have YouTube videos to see YouTube, then they've got a learning management system to do worksheets. So everything was scattered across. Every parent needed to go at 3 4 different places to access the data basically. So what
Right.
we did was we integrated all that inside the ebook. So on a page, for example, if you read digestive system, so there is a video of digestive system incorporated in that page itself. Along with that,
Wow.
then we got a small worksheet assessment which checks, okay, if this student has understood the concept well. So
Mm-hmm.
he self-corrects himself there itself. So we call it as an enhanced textbook. It's got a lot of, a lot and lots of features than a normal textbook provides you. Everything at one place itself. So I think I don't know which school has 52,000 students using ebooks. I can very confidently say that we're the largest because we could do that because we make our own textbooks. We have from grade 1 to grade 8. We've got our own academic team writing the textbooks as per the NCRT, or that is CBSE or ICSE, boards. We are all
Right.
authorized by the boards to make our own textbooks because we thought there are certain things lagging in different textbooks. We wanted to customize it as per our requirement. So because we had textbooks, it was easier for us to take that same copyright. We didn't need to take any copyright from anyone because it's our own content. So from
Mm-hmm.
grade 3 to grade 8 is what we've done our own ebooks, and from grade 1 to grade 8 we do our own textbooks. So uh, you can imagine the kind of work, the volumes of work which goes in. Like today, we've got close to over 160 textbooks and ebooks live with the parents. So I've seen parents buying textbook also. I've seen parents buying ebook also. Some parents buying both also. So
Right.
a lot of parents like to keep two copies of textbooks. I don't know for what reason. So probably one is kept in the school and one in the house. So that's how we worked on. We try and bring things on very early, but we realize that it takes time for people to adopt, for schools to adopt, because as an organization, our biggest vision is to keep all schools similar. So a school in Mumbai has to be similar to a school in Jalna, or similar to a school in Akola, or similar to a school in Kankavli, which is a new
Right.
school coming in. So we don't differentiate between the schools or the locations, and they all have same technology. They've got same support. Going across, they have same question papers, so we can actually judge which school, which location is doing well, performing well. So it's like everything happens centralized manner, but they have their own individualism also in every school there. So that's
Right.
how we are right now. That's where we stand currently at. So
Right. And on so Mr. Chawla, my next question to you is from what is in your control, what is your vision for Podar Education Network? What changes do you want to make?
so as I said, with things changing, like how the situation has come across us, wherein from 3 months we are all at home, working from home. So the visions keep changing, updating themselves. The only changes, they keep updating themselves, because right now, as I said, the first task was for us to get everybody connected online,
Mm-hmm.
which we could do it in a matter of 15 days. So currently, what we want to do for next 6 months is to make sure everyone is connected, online learning is on. And we have two forms of training, learning. What we do it as, we call it as synchronous and asynchronous. So in synchronous, we have certain classes doing live training.
Mm-hmm.
So we have infrastructure for that, and for synchronous is wherein which is offline, which is you do it at your own pace, because a lot of our schools are tier 2, tier 3 cities. They don't have that bandwidth for live teaching there. So for such schools, what we started doing now is we are building up a library of recorded videos which are by their own teachers,
Mm-hmm.
so that they don't feel that some outsider is teaching them. Because it's very important for students and teachers to relate. It's very important they understand each other. So certain students understand the language of certain teachers. They work along with from years. That way. So
Right.
our current task is to get ready for next 3. We're not sure when the schools are going to start.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, what we want to do is we want to keep technology as a backbone, as always. So that's the vision behind, and keep upgrading our infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, is the ICT infrastructure, our hostings, are right. For example, this time when we had to give report cards to the students, which we call it
Mm-hmm.
as an open day. Open day, we did it online, and we've got like 150,000 report cards being generated in less than one day.
Wow.
So our servers, So that's a big number. Everything we do at our end is at very large scale. So requires a lot of testing and a lot of planning in order to make sure it works fine. So right now the short term vision you could say is to make sure everything works fine and everything is upgraded to the level what the parent and the teachers are satisfied at. The long-term vision, as I said, is to make sure that we have a lot of project-based learning there in the education. So a lot of IT support is needed when you're doing project-based learning. So we just don't want children to be just getting feeded to information. Overall, we want to have a kind of a learning system wherein they're doing projects like a blend learning kind of an atmosphere, and wherein
Right.
they are also have a part of in learning a part along with the teacher, and they're just not getting feeded with information. So we wanted
Mhm.
them to do something with that information, basically. So that's the overall. When you look at the technological aspect, is there? That's where the vision stands today. So and giving IT to every student. So IT support to every student. So that's what
Amazing.
our vision is right now.
That's amazing. My next question to you is more about your previous experiences before you joined Podar Education
Yes.
Network. So you've had about a 20-year experience in the field of
Yes.
technology, if I'm not wrong. And
Yes.
what you were also a director in some other company. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name,
Yeah.
but what was
Yeah.
that experience like?
Yeah. So, as I said, I just passed out my college and I took a job in a computer institute. And the computer institute was actually managed by Podar, was a sister concern of Podar itself. So,
Oh,
I joined as a faculty. I had a lot of interest in coding from my college days, and so I joined as a my background is programming. So I have been, as I said, because that's the reason I lead a software team of Beanstalk Learning is our company which does software for schools. So we do software for our own schools also. We do software for schools which are non-Podar schools also.
right.
But my experience there first 2 years was in the computer institute because that's where the computers way back in '99 is where the computers started. People started using them and they didn't know how to use them basically. We used to do a lot of training to teachers, parents, and different kinds of people who used to come to us, like senior citizens coming into us. So we did a lot of training, and we did a lot. I did a lot of learning personally there, and realizing that future is all IT driven. The only reason it's IT driven is because to connect to people, you need to have some technology. You cannot do it via
Right.
mail or So IT has to be there. It will be there forever. Everyone knows that. So the whole focus of that. So 2 years was I served as a faculty. Then I got promoted to a deputy CEO, and then finally in the second year I was the CEO of the institute. So that went on for some years. So a lot of experience was gained in leading a team that time at a very young age. Like I was a CEO at as early as 21 years. So that really helped a lot. I was lucky to be a CEO. I didn't aspire to be CEO, but I was lucky there because I was a deputy and my boss left suddenly overnight.
Mhm.
Within 15 days, he left. So they didn't have anyone to, fall back immediately. So I was kind of taking you can say I was substituting him for some time.
Mhm.
But I think that substitution never ended. It just kept on changing to different postings at the same organization. And that's where I head the IT right now today. At the
Wow.
same it's a sister concern. The institute shut down, but I remain with the organization in a different post.
Wow, that's quite a story. So I'm sure
Yeah.
since you held the position of a CEO at such a young age, you might have had
Yes.
some really defining learning experiences that something that
Yes.
you learned from
I
failure.
mean, yeah. One of the funny things happened after I joined was we were not doing well, so we didn't have students coming in because the whole dynamics of computers changed in 2 3 years. um, off after the computer institute was opened, because everybody started learning computers in the schools, colleges. Gradually, the curriculum started coming in, so the footfalls in the institute reduced a lot. So, and that's where I experienced a lot of failure that time. Learned marketing, learned digital marketing. Then that time at a very young age, as to how the students could be attracted and all. But yes, and one of the things we did was we started visiting the housing societies and started promoting them about the usage of computers at a very young age, because a lot of people then still thought that computers may not be needed. So we started convincing them. A lot of failure was experienced at that age, very early on, wherein we were struggling to get students to the institute.
Right.
uh, and so somehow what we did was then we started targeting the senior citizens. So we realized that a lot of children at home were not helping their parents in computers.
Mm-hmm.
So we started doing 4 5 hours special batches for senior citizens, and we improved a lot of footfalls there. I mean, I myself was training, because the hardest part of training them was poor things we used to teach, and their only task was the only thing they wanted to learn was to communicate with their children who are living abroad,
Right.
sending emails, sending them greeting cards. That was the only task, but it was monumental because we used to teach them today and they used to forget it tomorrow, next day. So a 30-day course used to go on for like 90 days, that was the situation. Uh, we used to continue. So a lot of failure, success was there at that age. Experienced it a lot because running an institute was like doing your own business. It's like
Right.
I was responsible for profit loss statements, faculty hiring, and marketing, and so a lot of learning happened in those 2 3 years initially. Changed the whole personality basically. So that's a small, you can say, small time of failure we had, and then we keep having small failures here and there, because I've been a programmer, so we are very patient with bugs. We are very patient with the problems. So we don't give up easily till we really solve it. So, but that was a defining moment. If you ask
Right.
me, that is where we learned a lot during that time.
Absolutely, yes. Uh, Mr. Chawla, for you personally, do you have any objectives, aims, goals that you want to achieve throughout your career?
Oh yes, uh, there. I don't talk about it very openly, but yeah, I mean, surely to have our own edtech startup
Mm-hmm.
whenever the time and the idea permits, and it's there in the vision, my own personal vision, that there has to be something much more than what is happening in technology in education today. Much more things can be done. Schools could be connected more with the parents and the students much more. And I think what is happening around us is the best time, because I'm seeing best time when I say is not due to people falling sick, but due to people adapting technology, because
Right.
especially teachers, because some teachers I've seen had a lot of mental block on technology. They used to feel, because we've got some brilliant teachers but refusing to use technology, and we never forced them, never wanted to force them, but right now the situation was such that they had to use it, technology, to teach. So something on that line, something on making sure that people are more connected, the schools are more connected to the parents and students.
Mm-hmm.
Students having more leeway in self-teaching themselves rather than depending on the teachers a lot. Because see, students are learning a lot of things on their own in different forms, by reading articles, by seeing YouTube videos, or by creating their own videos. So we actually need to encourage them and see how the students could be the biggest content creators in the world. Actually,
Yeah.
especially in India, we've got a lot of young people. We've got the youngest population in India than anywhere in the world. That's what I heard last. So, and whoever creates good content, whoever is able to provide those content to across to people, is that's where something unique has to happen in that edtech domain. So
Right.
uh, not clear yet, but yeah, something in edtech startup soon. So that's what the plan is right now.
Amazing. We wish you all the very best with that. And that brings us to our final question for the day is
Yes.
what words of advice you would like to give to other people who are hoping to join the same field of work as you?
Yeah. So two, three things. What I have experienced in my life was is that always I have started at very you could say at a zero level in my life. When you say zero level is starting as a faculty is never considered to be a very brilliant thing to happen for a career today, right? If you are in I was a BSc computer science student, but the reason I started was because I was not clear what I wanted to do after my computer science, though I knew it had to be something with computers. But I thought, let's give a waiting period, let's think it over what has to be done. But then I got an opportunity and see today where I am. It's 21 years down the line, and I'm heading the tech operations of one of the largest private education organization in India or Asia, you could say. Is I would always like to advise them is there's no harm in starting at a very low position, but the biggest thing I always did throughout my career was I always upgraded myself. I kept on studying throughout my career. I am still studying, though my dynamics of studying has changed. Now it's more self-learning
Mm-hmm.
rather than going to a college or school. And I have seen that things change every 3 years, 4 years. There is a cycle. Anything you want to do, if you don't change it in 3, 4 years, you will get things will get monotonous and you will be disheartened. But out here where I work, I got opportunity in throughout 20 years I've been working. I've got different opportunities in the same organization. So right from faculty to running an institute to
Mm-hmm.
starting the software operations, then setting up the ICT infrastructure, then connecting all the 135 schools today. So biggest advice: don't worry about starting low. Keep upgrading yourself and make sure you don't get stuck in anything you do it for more than 2, 3 years, 4 years. There's nothing which is everlasting today. Things are moving like they're changing every year. Like, for
Right.
example, if you're doing a coding language, you've got a new coding language after 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you were doing statistics earlier, now you're doing data analysis. So the names have changed. The things of doing things have changed, but it's all technology driven. So if you are zero in technology, and then God save you, because imagine the scenario where you are at home, and you can't do any work. So we don't know how many such events are going to happen in the future. Hopefully they don't, but technology is where I feel is the future. Even
Right.
if you're doing something else, even if you're an HR head, you need to have technology with you for recruitment, right? So I'm not saying you don't become a HR head if you don't know technology. Technology is always support; it can never replace you, but you
Right.
need to know how to use that support. So that's what my advice would be to everyone. So keep updating and don't get stagnated at one place.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Chawla, for joining us today and giving us your time. This has been very enlightening and quite an experience talking to you. So, thank you so much.
Thanks, Angela. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. Thank you. All the best
Thank
to you.
you.